Okay, so now it's time to clean things up. If GOTS MLS or Sucuri or whatever it is you've used to do a scan of your site has identified a particular theme or plugin, then what you need to do is to check with the author or vendor of that theme or plugin to see if they're aware of the vulnerability. Because if they are aware of it, then hopefully they should have issued a fix for it. If they're aware of it and haven't done a fix for it, then I'll be a bit concerned, unless of course the vulnerability has literally just been discovered. Now if they have got a fix, that's great. If they haven't got a fix, you're just going to have to get rid of that plugin or theme, because you can't continue using something which has got a vulnerability in it which has already infected your site, because once people know that your site is vulnerable, they'll just keep coming back and keep attacking it. So you definitely have to get rid of it. The thing is, there's plenty of alternative themes out there, there's plenty of alternative plugins. There's so many plugins available for WordPress that pretty much whatever you want, there's a choice of plugin. You don't have to just use the one you've got. So it's not a big deal. So now is the time to go back to either GOTS MLS or WordFence or the Sucuri service, if that's what you were planning on using, to remove the malware. If it's got MLS, then you just run it again. It'll highlight the stuff in red. You tick the boxes and ask it to clean it up. If it's Sucuri, then just pay your money and they'll just do it for you. If it was a particular theme or plugin that was flagged, then make sure that you deactivate it and delete it. You might think it's enough just to deactivate the plugin so that it's not actively in use, but the problem is it isn't. And the reason is that that vulnerable code is still sitting there on the server in your account, and it can still be taken advantage of. So not only do you deactivate it, but you must also delete it. Once you've done that, rescan. Go back to GOTS MLS or Sucuri and rescan the site. Don't just assume that because the software you've used or the service you use tells you that it's gone, that it actually is. Do another scan just to make sure. If it comes up clean, then the next thing to do is to change all your passwords. Now when I say all your passwords, I'm talking about things like your FTP password. And quite often your FTP password, a lot of people will use the password for their cPanel accounts for FTP rather than set up a separate FTP account. So you're going to need to change that as well. Now you might need to get your hosting company to help you with that, but definitely change that. Change the password for your WordPress database. Go into your admin, go into your users in WordPress and make sure you change the password for all of the admin users as well. Make sure it's a strong password. There's plenty of services out there that can generate strong passwords for you. Once you've done all of that, then change the salt keys. Now, the salt keys are something which I covered in a previous lecture, and you can find them in your WP config file. If you go back to the lecture where I covered this, it'll tell you how to do it. But briefly, if you edit WP config and go down to the section where the salt keys are, there's a link there to a page on WordPress which will generate fresh salt keys for you. So what you need to do is to go to that page, get the keys it generates, and paste them over the top of the keys in that section. It's literally just a copy and paste. What happens when you do that is that anybody who's currently logged into your site, next time they try to do something, they'll be logged out. So if you followed the instructions I gave you already, and if you came across an admin user that you hadn't created or shouldn't be in there, and you deleted him, then by changing the salt keys, it means that anybody that's actively logged in, next time they try to do something, they'll be logged out. So if somebody had created an admin account for themselves and they hadn't logged out and they were in the middle of doing something, then the next operation they do, because you've changed the salt keys, they'll be logged out. So that boots them out, and providing you've deleted that admin user, they're not going to be able to get back in.